Peace and blessings, beloved. Come here to be educated, empowered, enlightened, inspired, motivated, and challenged to be critical and independent thinkers. Let's get to it.
Yeah, believe in yourself. Who else gonna believe in you? Who else gonna believe in you? Who else gonna believe in you? Believe in yourself. Yeah. Who else gonna believe in you? Who else gonna believe in you? Who else gonna believe in you? Believe in yourself. Health is wealth.
All right, peace and blessings, beloved, and welcome to the postscript coverage for the Life Lessons U video series, Derrick Rose Believe in Yourself edition. And what I want to do in this video, very briefly, is cover the ESPN interview that followed D. Rose's career night in the Minnesota Timberwolves win against the Utah Jazz. Now, of course, this is coming off the high that was the spectacle and the hype surrounding his night all across the world. And so what you'll see is the tenor of the interviewer in contrast to the tenor of Derrick Rose, and how Derrick Rose doesn't allow any external force to determine or shape his character, because he knows that there is something much more substantive at the heart of his life than just a single moment in time that grabbed the nation.
Derrick, when did you know that night was going to be special?
I mean, I didn't know it was going to be special at all. I was just going out there to play my way of playing basketball, and we knew that we had some guys down, and I was starting. So before the game, I asked Tiz what he wanted, and he just told me to go out there and play my game.
As you can see from that response to the question about whether or not, or when rather, Derrick Rose knew that the night was going to be special. And what you saw from Derrick Rose is that his countenance didn't change. He didn't get overly emotional. He didn't exude any happiness over his career night, because he had what in mind? The team focus, the team goal, which was to work collectively to get a win. Now, if his career night came in the midst of that goal, so be it. Wonderful. You saw him quite clearly emote. But again, he took it as another day at the office.
Why do you think you got so emotional after the game?
I think it all came from just knowing how much hard work I put into my craft, put into my body, and like get ready for games, but like the night before the game. So just prepping myself and just knowing one day that if I get the opportunity, I'm going to run with it. And that was my way of showing that I was running with any opportunity that I get.
You see, the word opportunity keeps popping up in Derrick Rose's vernacular, and it's for a very specific reason. And that reason is this: he understands his talent. He knows his value. He knows his worth. And he also knows the nature of life and the business and nature of basketball. And so he understood that what he had to do was continue to hone and perfect his craft, his skill, his God-given talent and ability, not sulk, not get angry, not get weary, as he had struggled with over the course of his year. Of course, nobody's perfect. We're all fallible. And so what you see here is a maturing young man who's 30 now, and who sees things in the proper perspective. And so again, he has a very specific focus, and his goal is to not be derailed by anything or anybody.
One of the things I found so interesting after the game was you said, I've never talked so much in my life on the floor. After being outside of that role for the last few years, being in that role again.
Yeah.
When everybody's leaning on you, what was that like?
I mean, it was cool. Even when I'm on the bench, it's still the most I ever taught. Like, I'm making sure that I'm always in the guy's ear, the young guys, making sure that Cat don't feel any pressure while he's out there, letting them know that it's only 7 games, 8 games in, so it's all right that you're missing bunnies right now. We didn't even get to 10 games yet, so catch your rhythm, get your reps up, and you're fine. You know, just let them know that everything is going to be fine in this a long season, really.
Words spoken from a true leader. A man who can take a step back and see life both micro and macrocosmically, and can take the sweet with the bitter, the good with the bad, and can take that, internalize it, and then externalize it in the form of leadership to his fellow players. You see, in life we play many roles, we have many phases, we go through many stages. And so Derrick Rose understands that he has now graduated from the rookie/young player phase into the seasoned veteran phase of his life, of his career. And he understands what comes along with that, and he welcomes it very comfortably, because he's not fake or phony. He's not trying to put on any facade or image for anybody else. What he's doing is he's being himself, in understanding that we all have leadership qualities within. There's not one brush that you can paint a leader with. A true leader understands the power and the influence that he has, and he works within his true nature to exhibit it and to share with others. Nothing's ever forced.
One of the things that I think a lot of people in Chicago always thought was they loved seeing how well you did over time, and they loved you as a person, but they wondered if you had lost the joy for the game.
Yeah.
When did you find that joy again?
I mean, I always felt like I had joy. People just get it misunderstood. Confidence, opportunity, joy, fun, this and that. Like, I was just missing opportunity, man. Like, even in New York, I was the 3rd option. Like, I'm not the type of guy that's gonna go out or come to a team and demand 25 shots. No, I'm gonna get a feel for the team, and I'm gonna find my place. And in New York and in Cleveland and everywhere else, it just didn't feel right. So coming back here, I'm just under a system and a coach that really believe in me and letting me play the way that I want to play.
And so you see here, first of all, the question, about when did you get the joy or find the joy? I think that was a great question in this respect. It allowed Derrick Rose to really share a sentiment that often gets overlooked in the world of professional sport, and that is people run with a narrative, and the narrative is given by the media for the most part, or the way the media manipulates player comments, or they can take a string of incidences on the court or instances off the court and create a narrative for a person's life and have people actually follow it. And so by asking this question, what Derrick Rose is allowed to do is to tell the whole world that the joy never left. So it doesn't matter what the narrative was, or what, the Twitterverse or the social media world said. He's telling you that he never lost the joy. He just had to work within each system that he came to, because that's just his character. He's not going to impose any will to disrupt the team. He's going to get in where he fits in. And that's the mark of a true man who understands what manhood is and what it entails and how it manifests itself. You don't have to be an alpha or super aggressive to be a man. A man is comfortable in his own skin. A man is very methodical, very strategic, very logical. He's very observant. And so I think these things tend to slide to the introverted portion of the scale, because we all are on that scale. We have our nature, we have our core, but we're all on that scale and have the ability to function at any point that we need to. The key is to do it comfortably within your own skin and to not make it seem forced. So again, he could have went to Cleveland or New York and forced his will and said, you know, I can ball, man. I can still ball. I think we need to change this offense and revolve it around me and let me get 25 shots and do what I did back in 11 when I got that MVP. Youngest boy to ever do it. Put some respect on my name. But nah, his temperament is different. He's built different. And so again, man, I'm just sharing this interview, sharing this commentary to encourage all of you, beloved, to always be comfortable in your skin. Don't ever let anybody try to tell you who you need to be or what you need to be. You let that be dictated by whatever your spirituality is. I highly suggest and recommend being a follower of God, the God of the Holy Bible, and a follower of Jesus Christ, who is God manifest in the flesh, as we know, all of us who read the scripture. But the point is this: your identity should be at the very foundation based on spirituality. Those things that feed your spirit, those things that flesh can't do anything with. And Derrick Rose, he has a good grasp on that. I don't know what his spirituality is, but he has a good grasp on who he is. And he says, to hell with what the world thinks. And that should be our attitude.
Do you ever wonder after all this time what it would have been like had you not gotten hurt with the ACL injury?
Nah, I never thought about that, bro. Never thought about it. I mean, after a couple of years, I was playing revenge basketball. Yeah, I wanted to prove everyone wrong, but after a while, I had to let that go and understand the career and the path I was heading down, and I can't play that way. When I'm out there, I love to be happy. I love to try to win every game or compete in every game that I play in, and that's when I play the best basketball.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. See, this is awesome, man, because you have a man who has been through a lot, you know, highs, lows, everything in between, monotony, distress, chaos, turmoil, betrayal, all of these things. And again, it resonates so well because I know that he's not the only person who's gone through that trajectory in life. I know we all have in our own way. And what's very important, as you heard him allude to, is to not ever step out of ourselves and allow external forces to dictate who we are. Now again, I've been saying that from the giddy up, but it's just important to see from his story how when he did step out of bounds and allowed the world to dictate how he was going to conduct himself, he was playing quote unquote revenge ball. And he had taken the happiness away from the temperament that he plays the game of basketball with. And then of course, consequently, his game suffered. And so the moral there is that we always suffer when we step outside of our comfort zone. And comfort zone not meaning being afraid to be challenged, but just meaning coming out of who we are, being phony, being fake, putting on, stunting, as they say colloquially. And so again, man, be happy in your own skin. Know that God made you for a reason. He put you here for a purpose. And it does not benefit you at all to play what if, what could have been. Because if hopes and wishes were boats and fishes, we'd all live by the ocean. And so basically, man, know who you are, know whose you are, know why you're here.
To that point, you've had a rough couple of years.
Yeah.
You get traded by your hometown team in Chicago.
Yeah.
You have the injuries that you're going through.
Yeah.
You go to a couple different other places. You get waived by the Jazz. You've got the court case that you're in and out of court. After everything has happened, what was the lowest point for you?
The lowest point, I would say the last time in Cleveland when I got taken out of the air and I thought my career was over. Like I thought, like I wasn't able to run for a month and a half. I didn't know what was going on with my ankle, and I was just trying to figure things out. And around that time, I found myself, me and my guy Art, in the gym at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, shooting shots, and I had to like realized like, man, I really do love the game if I'm in the gym. Like I ain't supposed to be in the gym at that time, but I found my way, or found myself always like around basketball in the gym because it was my safe haven. So that's like being in Cleveland, that's when I realized that I still had joy for the game and the game was still somewhere in me.
And so, beloved, as you see here is a perfect opportunity to talk about our particular lives. I want you to understand this. I want you to digest this. In life, the only thing that we're promised is trial and death. Nothing else is promised. We're not guaranteed good health. We're not guaranteed worldly possessions. We're not guaranteed a sense or level of comfort. We're not guaranteed wealth. We're not guaranteed a loving relationship with our family or with our spouse. But we are guaranteed trials. And that's in any walk. You know, of course, again, I believe in God, follower of Jesus Christ. So I certainly know that we're promised to be persecuted for righteousness and to also suffer in our flesh. Because if we truly follow Jesus, then we will always be at war with our flesh. And so I say that to say this. You have Mr. Derrick Rose, who by his own admission thought his career was over. And that was post the ACL and meniscus injuries that he suffered as a member of the Chicago Bulls. And so just think about how you have dealt with tragedy when it seems like it's been piled on top of other tragedy and it's just like it's residual and you can't shake it, and you thought you finally moved on and you turn around and you're right back in the same position and it could even be worse than it initially was. And look, man, he's a testament that we can always bounce back. As long as we're alive, we have an opportunity to get through it and to move forward and to progress and not regress. We'll always have trials, but we don't have to become our trials. And what does that mean? That means that just because you're going through a situation, it does not mean you have to take on the persona or the spirit or the energy of that situation. You might be going through distress or turmoil or chaos, but that does not mean that you have to resort or reduce yourself to living or spewing chaos, turmoil, or distress with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions. And so there is no excuse. I know this society tells us, or promotes rather, the ideology of victimhood as being positive, whether we're talking about being a young black man and having all these cards stacked against us and having the whole world against us. And is there truth to that? Of course there is. But because we know it, that means that we are no longer victims. That means we are responsible for knowing it and for now being wise and navigating this world that we know is against us. And so I'm just proud of this brother, man. He's a testament to perseverance, resilience, and just walking in his own skin very comfortably. And that's my prayer for us all, that we walk in our skin comfortably, that we can find something that we love to do and do it to the best of our ability.
You walked away from the game a couple times.
Yeah.
As you went through what was going on emotionally in your head, was there ever a point where you thought about retiring?
Nah, I always say like, I quit a couple of times, but I never gave up. Like, that's something that I never did. I never gave up, or I never threw in the towel. And it plays a role into like the character that I have, or the character that I built for myself. Like, I know how much I love the game. I have my son, I have my daughter now, and I never want them to look back and see that I gave up. So with me having my kids, I feel like they played a huge role in me, especially coming back, and me like pushing through everything right now, like being 30, going through 4 surgeries, an eye surgery, with 5 surgeries total, and just understanding where I'm at in my career and knowing that I still have a lot, but I don't like speaking about it anymore. I just want to let my game speak for itself.
So there you have Derek speaking on quitting a few times but never giving up. And what I really think he was alluding to is, first of all, double salute him for being honest and vulnerable enough to share that, because a lot of times we let pride get in the way of truth, not understanding that we're being super selfish, because when we're vulnerable, when we tell the truth, you don't know who you're touching at that point. You don't know whose life you're impacting. And so by him admittedly being a quitter on more than one occasion, he's now speaking to that young man, that young woman, that old man, that old woman who was at a point in their life where they wanted to give up. And they were in turmoil because they didn't think anybody would understand, or they thought they'd be denigrated or ostracized or bullied for being that way. And here's a man who seemingly had the world at his feet, certainly more money than he can ever spend, all the trappings of success, and he was willing to walk away from the proverbial cash cow, or the origin of all that wealth and comfort and luxury. And that's real. And so I just want us to all be mindful that it's nothing wrong with being at a low point and having doubt creep up. That just means that we're human and we're fallible. The issue comes in when you allow that energy, that spirit of defeat to override your God-given talent and the God-given purpose that he has for your life. And so just allow that to be a testament to the fact that you can always overcome. Again, as long as you have breath, as long as you have life, then there's an opportunity to progress and to once again walk in your purpose.